Welcome to another episode of Let There Be Talk. It is January 10th, a Monday, and my voice is almost back into action, feeling a lot better. Welcome to the show today. Thank you for tuning in every week. Let There Be Talk brought to you by CactusRadioNetwork.com for all your podcast needs. At Home with Byron Katie, Dark Fonzie, The Grail, and Let There Be Talk. CactusRadioNetwork.com. Morning, everybody. Glad you are here. We have a fantastic guest today, a legend on the turntables. Mr. DJ Lord is joining me, sitting down and talking all things hip-hop. You know I love Public Enemy. If you've listened to this show for years, it is probably my all-time favorite hip-hop group. I mean, let's just be honest. Fear the Black Planet. Of course, a lot of people think Nations is the one, but for me, it was really Fear the Black Planet. And the collab with Spike Lee on the film Do the Right Thing, that whole era of Public Enemy is just mind-boggling to me. I went to see him live on that era at the Shoreline with Digital Underground opening, and it just changed my whole world of just, wow, this is another fantastic, world to dive into musically. Anyway, something cool happened a few weeks ago. I was asked to open for Metallica. We've talked about that on the bonus episode on Patreon. And it was one of the most incredible things ever to happen to me in my life. It was probably the tops of all tops. And I cannot think of anybody better to do it with than DJ Lord. We did not know each other. He was asked to DJ the show. I was asked to host and do comedy. And they threw us together, said, put together a show, and boom, that's what we did. So it was great to sit down with DJ Lord and talk about how that came about, talk about his history on the turntables, how he got started out in Savannah, Georgia, moving to Atlanta, Professor Griff opening some doors for him, and next thing you know, he's out there with Public Enemy, Cypress Hill, Prophets of Rage, working his ass off, solid human, great friend. So, going to be an incredible episode today for you. Before we go any further, I want to say it's just a horrific day yesterday. Bob Saget had passed away out of nowhere at 65 years old, and we have lost a comedic legend, a very funny human, a solid human, and the comedy world is buckling today. I can't believe it. First Norm, now Bob, these guys. I mean, look, we know people die, but 65, these guys are going too soon, and we need them more than ever right now in this just crazy, harsh world of evil people out there. We need the funny, we need to laugh, and God, Bob Saget, man, great human. I talked to him a few times at the Comedy Store, and it was always just, smile on my face like, that's Bob Saget, man. The guy's a fucking crusher. He died out on the road, and it looked like he was very happy from his Instagram post from the night before that he was out doing stand-up. And that's probably how I'd want to go, out working, doing some show somewhere, that doing what I love. So, Bob Saget, we love you, man. And we will miss you. And thank God we have hours and hours of all of your great comedy. Thank you, Bob Saget. I want to tell you guys real quick here. I just got added to La Jolla Comedy Store this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I lost those gigs in Springfield, Illinois, due to some regulations out there. But I will be able to perform at La Jolla Comedy Store, which is going to be fun as hell, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, this weekend. So go to La Jolla Comedy Store website or the Comedy Store website. Get tickets right away. All my tour dates are at deandelray.com. Also, lots of great merch. Get your merch. Come on, people. You're always asking, oh, where can I get merch? It's at the website, deandelray.com. Also, all the bonus episodes and Zoom Fest can be had at the patreon.com/deandelray. Support Let There Be Talk and Cactus Radio by joining my Patreon. It greatly helps. Brand new Patreoners. Let's see who we got here. Ag, A-G-A-G, Ag. Thank you for joining Patreon. Kenneth D. Butler Jr. bumped up his pledge. Thank you, brother. And Jonathan Reeves also joined the Patreon. I love you guys. Candles are lit. Let's get into it right now. This is episode number 628. Thank you, people. 2022. Let's keep it positive out there. Mr. DJ Lord.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. DJ Lord on the tables. What is happening, my man?
I'm good, bro. Dean Del Rey on the microphone.
Microphone. I mean, that's my go-to. Like, I always felt that Chuck D was the ultimate hip hop voice, you know?
Oh, yes.
Chuck D and Ice Cube. I mean, I could say Biggie too, but it was always Chuck D, word, he just had that deep commanding,
that baritone, bro. It's like that late night radio host, lull you to sleep voice, or either your dad telling you to get the fuck out of here. You just immediately at attention. So yeah, man.
Don Cornelius, one of the greatest voices ever, and just the way you come on, that was fantastic. I really like
same principle.
Yeah, it draws you in. There's something about that. I don't have that. My speaking voice is basically just like like a monster.
Don't get me started on mine. Yeah, I'm a DJ, so it's like the struggle is real.
Yeah. How? Where are you? You at home?
I'm at home, bro. I'm my ATO home. I'm in Rebel Base. As you can see, you got Bob over there. I beat him up every other day. He's my martial art training dummy.
Wow.
You might see that up there. Notice that.
Oh, yeah. The Metallica.
Notice that.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm here, man, just working on stuff and getting the groove on, getting ready for 2022.
Yeah. It's amazing that I love how the world works. I got turned on to hip hop at, I think, like around the 7th grade or 6th grade. I used to go to this all black boys camp, boys club camp, Oakland Boys Club put on Camp Mendocino. And that's where I really learned about the ground zeros of hip hop, being like kids passing tapes around. And they were listening to Kraftwerk, and they were listening to, early stuff that wasn't hip hop, but they were popping into it and everything. And then eventually here comes, the birth of hip hop. Of course, with the world in the Bay Area, to me, it was Sugar Hill Gang, that big single. It was at every party at the same time Ted Nugent was playing. So it was an interesting thing that was going on. Yeah. You would go from like a Richard Pryor record to a AC/DC record to Sugar Hill Gang, Earth, Wind and Fire, Cheech and Chong. It was all, that's
a nice little salad, man. That's a nice little diverse salad.
Yeah, it really was. And I think that was from growing up in the right area, the Bay Area, where it was a melting pot. You grew up, where'd you grow up? In Savannah, Georgia?
Savannah, Georgia, of all places. It's about 3-4 hours away from here. And it's a completely different world, and basically made a way out of no way. There were no hip hop outlets. got the trickle down effect from my cousin Bernard in Philly. Family's from Philly, so he would send me the mixtapes. That's all I had as far as being connected to hip hop. And even in Savannah, if your cousin is from New York, your cousin's in town December, he's dressing with the Lees, he got the patch on the Lees or the two-tone Lees or the Adidas with fat strings, and we're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. So we got that kind of influence, but there was no direct link, no direct hip hop link.
And there was, and you're 46, I believe. I'm 55, but there was no hip hop radio back then. This was very underground, which to me is what attracted me to hip hop as much as rock and metal. It was all underground. It's hard to think about now. Hip hop is 100% fully engulfed into the culture of clothing, lingo, music, film, everything, you know, but back then it was tape trading, just like Metallica, you know, it's just passing along stuff. Check this guy out, man. Paris. Well, what's that? Oh, check this out. You know, just different ways of getting your music. And it felt really good back then. You just get something that was so like, whoa, a cassette tape, you know?
Wasn't it crazy? It was like, my precious. And you hold on to it and everyone wants to dub it.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes you never get it back or it'll pop and you back to square one and did all of that, dude. Yeah. All of that. And even Public Enemy, I brought Fear of a Black Planet at least 7 times because you let people use it, you never get it back.
Yeah.
You just never got it back. People was like, oh, it's mine now. My precious. Hold on to it. And that's how it was. That's exactly how it was.
What was some of the first hip hop that you were turned on to? Because you are 10 years younger than me. So what was coming up the pipe then?
Sugar Hill Gang, of course.
Yeah.
Herbie Hancock, Grand Mixer DST, Rocket, which was my first piece of vinyl that I actually bought with my own money, raking yards, selling cans, whatever, but it was mine. Man, those are basically the first, that was my general admission to the hip hop world, you know, having something like that. Cause you always heard to the hip hop, the hibit at the party, don't stop the rocket. So you learn that becomes law. And then when Herbie Hancock came out with Rocket in that video and Grand Mixer DST, sorry, scratching, it just blew a hole in my brain, man. And then we had DJs like Jam Master Jay and Jazzy Jeff, Grandmaster Flash, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, those are my beginnings.
So out there in your beginning, Savannah, Georgia, it's predominantly white. Because around me, it just seemed like, you know, white people, Hispanics, Asians, Black, everybody started listening to hip hop because it was something that was getting the parties going, you know,
right.
And it felt underground and kind of dangerous, you know, and people were into it. And then once that the gangster rap hits, it's completely over with. That is, there's no looking back. I mean, once NWA hits, and of course, Fear of the Black Planet, which is not gangster rap, but it was definitely edgy and
game changer.
Spike Lee putting the stuff up on the screen, getting the flavor out there. Once all that stuff hits, it really, I've said this over the last 11 years on this show, that's when it became the new metal to me, because all of a sudden I was like, oh, this is what the level of edginess that they were doing is what like Metallica was doing and bands like that. All of a sudden it was like, oh, well, there's no barriers. This is whatever's dark and edgy to me, I'm on board.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, it was a whole new world when groups like NWA and Public Enemy dropped. You know, if you look at hip hop, it always has its phases.
Yeah.
Even now, it's kind of unfortunate that this particular phase has taken a long time to like, what's next? But you look at it, we had the Public Enemies, we had the Beastie Boys, we had the Kwame with the polka dots, we had Big Daddy Kane, the High Top Fade. So we had the conscious era, we had the gangster rap era, we had the Daisy Age with De La Soul. And I can keep on going. Hip hop goes through different phases, but this current stuff, and not gonna talk like the old man in the club,
right?
But this current stuff is, to me, it has it's taken a particularly long time to go to the next phase. We still have the conscious rappers and MCs are still here, the Kendrick Lamars, the J. Cole's. But this particular, how can I put it without sounding crazy? This whole get rich or die trying blueprint that everyone's following, and the auto tune and everything sounds the same. It's taken a long time to figure out what's next, and we'll see. Every generation thinks that the generation before them is whack.
Yeah, of course.
So I don't want to go into a tangent. These kids don't know about hip hop. I don't want to get into that.
Yeah,
because it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I kind of got lost into what I would call the bottle popping era. The spin, the rim spinning, and the bottle popping era. Once that hits, I'm kind of like, I don't really know what's going on. This is and I often say it's not the old man in me. It's the level of intensity that hip hop was before that hit. It was like, I'm talking about dudes that are laying down. Look, man, I learned a lot of stuff from hip hop, and I also enjoyed the intensity of it. But once it gets into we're in the club and, throwing money around and making it rain and stuff, I'm kind of like, yeah, that's fun for a little while. But
what happens when the club closes?
Yeah,
what I want to know.
Yeah. And I'm like you. I'm really curious to see where it goes next, because right now we're kind of in that era where people aren't even really saying words. They're just like right.
And, which is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of fun for a little while. You're like, this guy's not even saying anything. I love it.
Right. And before you know it, it's a whole song of that.
I know.
I got a little problem with that. I got a problem with the lack of lyrical content.
Right.
And like you said, based on how I was raised with it, and MCs actually took pride in saying something. You have a voice, and not saying that every song has to be a protest song, but say something.
Say something.
You have a platform. Say something. There's a lot going on, good and bad. Say something. That's all. That's my point.
Yeah, it's funny. I think we were talking about it at the Metallica gig, which we'll get into that in a minute. But I even thought that last Jay-Z record a few years back there was incredible. And what was that one called?
444.
Yeah. I like that record a lot, because
me too.
Here's a billionaire. I don't know how you find how to be edgy as a billionaire, but he did it. He did it. Yeah,
he did it. He spoke to the grown man, the grown woman of the hip hop era, and it went over a lot of people's heads.
Big time.
Even 50 Cent said something in reference to this album is too grown or something like that. Too mature, because it went over a lot of people's heads. But that's Hove. And he's a prime example of, evolving. And you listen to his older albums and you see where he came from. And he just completely just like brought it current, man, which was, it's a brilliant album. I still bump that to this day.
Same here. I did it a few months ago. I put it back on for about a week straight. I was like, God, this thing it's so good, man.
So good.
Once you get it in your veins, how do you start to DJ? Do you right away think, okay, I want to be a DJ? Do you get some turntables? Do you figure out how to do this? How does this happen for you?
A lot of time alone.
Yeah. Only child?
No. I'm the youngest. I had 3 sisters, 1 brother. A lot of wasting my mom's money. A lot of MTV Raps. A lot of shows like that. And like I said, the trickle down effect, dude. Just a lot of just finding out who's doing this thing called hip hop. Big shouts out to Alley Al 210, DJ Jeff Nice, and DJ Jahan, DJ Randy T. Hella influences in Savannah, because we used to do parties and things like that. So we would find out okay, what turntable do I need?
Right.
And we had to find out the hard way after spending a whole bunch of money and just not buying a right turntable, buying belt drive turntables, which are, you don't want that. You want a direct drive turntable. Watching, DJ Jazzy Jeff and Cash Money's album covers where they had pictures of the 1200. That's that turntable that I need.
Yeah.
Oh, that's my mom. Can I have that turntable? Can't afford that turntable. The turntable was $500.
And you need two.
And you need two of them and a mixer and a speaker and whatever else.
Yeah.
So, just on that pursuit and got secondhand Sanyo or Marantz. My Uncle Raymond would help me out with that. He knew his equipment. And so I had like a Sanyo something and a Marantz something. Well, first I had just the Sanyo by itself. And before that, remember the old school TV with the stereo system built in?
And the console.
the
console. Yeah.
That's what I started on, dude.
You were in a console.
That's what I started. That and a freaking volume knob and about 75 cents on the needle so that it wouldn't skip.
Right.
And my mom running in the room, punching me out every time because I was ruining her records. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I was trying to get that sound. I had to have that sound. And like I said, once I put a visual to it, game over. So that was my start. That's how I started. And I just kept building and getting more information on what the hell is this hip hop thing and award shows and more MTV and Yo MTV Raps and more magazines and raking yards and doing parties and anything else I could do in chores to one day get to this level of getting a Technique 1200 so I can be a real DJ and scratch like it sounds and do it for real. And one day I found, shouts out to my homie David, we went to a pawn shop and because I lived near a military base and there was a Technique 1200 in the pawn shop.
Wow. And
this particular pawn shop I used to frequent, this big guy used to always sit there and what do you kids want? Rah, 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 rah. This day he wasn't there. There was a substitute guy there. So this Technique 1200 was about $275. I remember that. I'll never forget that on a ticket. So I'm sitting like, oh man, we sitting there, oh and ah, and I'm sitting looking at it like, yo. And David's like, go talk to the guy. I was like, well, what are you doing? Because David was always on some other, he was that guy when we were kids. So I went and talked to the guy. David went back and swapped the tags.
Oh no, that's the old price tag switch. That's famous. That's my favorite.
Famous, the old school. So he told me it's done. Let's go. Pick it up, put it up there. I like to get this turntable. I'm talking all fast and nervous, straight up amateur as fuck. And the guy's like, yeah, looks like it's a cool little turntable. It looks $75. Well, I guess that's what it is. $75, sir.
Wow.
And I went like, because I just did a party like the night before or something, one house party. I rent equipment and everything and end up leaving with $75. When it was all done, shaking, giving the money. Have a good day, sir. Cool. We're out. I put this thing under my arm. I don't think I rode my bike that fast ever as a child. And I used to race BMX, Super Goose. And that was my first Technique 1200.
Whoa, you raced BMX? Man.
Yeah, I used to on the Super Goose team.
Yeah, I used to race BMX also. Oh, my God.
That was a great time.
What year's era were you riding? Was it late 80s or?
That was like way late 80s, dude. Let me see. That was like 1986, 87.
Yeah.
86, 87. I used to race Super Goose team at Lake Mare in Savannah, Georgia.
Dude, BMX is the first rock and roll, man.
Tell me about it.
BMX and Little League are really the intros to performing because you're there and there's an audience and they're watching you and you're like, oh, I gotta win. I gotta
get it right. I can't fall.
Yeah.
All that.
Oh, man.
As a kid.
Yeah.
And that's pressure, man.
And BMX was a lot like hip hop. It had its own lingo, Oh man, that guy stacked it. Oh, what a squid! Total Chewbacca. Everybody had BMX lingo for like bad riders and crashing and, enduro, endoed. Oh, the guy endoed,
Endoed, right. That was it.
That'd be a good hip hop song, just old BMX terms. Instead of the making up words, it would sound like you were making them up. What a squid out there in the Indo did a tabletop. He's out there tabletopping.
Some would get it off the rip, though. Some would get it like that. Like, they talking BMX talk. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Stu Thompson would be like, that's my favorite.
Right. Number one chart.
When you get the turntable, let's let everybody know out there the difference between direct drive and belt, because people that are completely clueless to the gear and where the gear, I just want to get into the ground zero of the gear to where we are now, because the gear now is insane. But what is the difference between the belt and the direct drive?
Well, the direct drive is basically motor driven. So the platter never stops. Just keeps going. Those are the ones that you need for scratching, because you want a consistent spin. So you can have like a slip mat between the record and the platter that constantly spins. A lot of people think, he's tearing up old school. He's tearing up the turntable. No, the platter is still spinning. You're just basically making the mat go back and forth under the needle. You see what I mean? Platter's constantly moving, but when you release it, it picks it back up. So we can release it back in real time. Belt drive turntable, you try to do that, put weight on it, it's going to be like,
yeah. Well, the belt stops in there, and
you're done.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that. I had no idea. So I'm talking like, Merry Christmas, and here you go. You always want a turntable. I go in a room and try to think is you're probably in the wrong shit. Losing my shit. Dude, I was relentless trying to figure it out, man. And I made mistakes like that, but it was all a part of the game.
Yeah.
But direct drive are the ones you want. You do not want belt drive turntables if you're, pursuing turntablism.
So you get home, you get the techniques home. There you're off. You're off to the races.
I'm off to the races.
Also, you have to have a shitload of vinyl. People don't know, back then you didn't have Serato and all this stuff. You had to have the vinyl. So
had to have the vinyl.
Now you got to start collecting your vinyl, and also making your own thing instead of copying someone, So back then everybody would comb old vinyl places, find a jazz loop that no one's heard.
Right.
I mean, that was the thing about creating these incredible beats for hip hop,
That's right.
I mean, it's wild.
From the beginning, I had to jump on the vinyl part because, my family always into music. My mother always had a record collection. My uncle had a record collection. My cousins, I was telling you, up north had record collections. So I was always around music. Even cleaning the house on Sundays, we always listened to music. My mom would have Marvin Gaye or all the Motown classics, Stevie Wonder playing while we cleaned the house. So I always had those rhythms in my head. And, in here. Now, when I got that 1200 home, I had my Rocket record, mind you. I didn't own a turntable, but my neighbor did. So I would take my record over there and I'm in heaven. And then I've convinced them to let me try scratching over there. And that was my release over there. So when I got that turntable home, I had to figure it out. I still didn't know what I needed to know. I didn't know what slip mat, what particular needle that, was best for anti-skip, so it didn't skip all over the record. So there was still a process, even though I had the grand, incredible Technique 1200 now at my home, So, but I did it, and there was no going outside. I was still doing, like martial arts and things back then. So I was always into a discipline, but even that took a back seat to this thing now in my room. And I would terrorize my entire family because all they heard is no other beat, no music playing. I don't know how to pull scratch with the song. I'm just trying to get this thing down. What the fuck is this sound coming out of your room? Go out and play.
Destroying your needles.
Destroying the needles, destroying the records, going into my mom's Motown collection.
Oh.
just trying to find sounds because hip hop was in full swing. So now you're hearing DJs cut Christmas sounds. You're hearing, here comes Santa Claus. Here comes Santa Claus. We got that record. We got that record. I don't get that record. It's a 78.
Yeah,
so
78.
Right.
Yeah.
It's heavy as hell putting it on there. So, dude, it was a lot of trial and error. A lot of trial and error coming up out in Savannah, Georgia, trying to be a DJ. And as far as like finding your own, unheard of back. Starting out, everyone bites. You bite until you figure out your own.
Of course.
So when they say there's nothing new under the sun, especially with turntablism or pretty much anything else for that matter.
Yeah.
But, a lot of my influences, a lot of influence I learned from, they're my peers now. And I don't hesitate to let them know that, hey, man, dude, I gotta give you, because many a time I didn't eat lunch because I went and bought your record. It's either eat lunch for the day or buy this 12-inch single at Turtle Records or Starship. And I would buy the single and have to act like I wasn't hungry until dinner time because my mom was like, you didn't, my mom would flip out. So it's just crazy how things happen and how I see a lot of my influences on the road and things like that. And they're still doing it,
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy to think about like you growing up on Public Enemy and now being the DJ for Public Enemy, and me growing up with Metallica and then opening for Metallica. Those type of things are so crazy to me and full
insanity.
Circle. It is
insanity.
I mean, just imagine the first time you're up on stage and you kick in to fight the power. It has to be just so unreal to you, just
I got mind-blowing stories about that. I mean,
yeah,
because even when I got the gig, Public Enemy 98, 99, it wasn't real because I grew up on Public Enemy and they didn't know that I grew up on Public Enemy and I knew Terminator X the scratches like the back of my hand. They had no idea. They just had, a guy and shouts out to Professor Griff. He's one that brought me in.
Oh, he's the one that brought you in.
Yeah, Griff. We through my roommate Rockmos, we lived in a house with like 7 of us, bro. Everyone trying to make it. Like
in Atlanta.
Yeah, right. Like 2 years after I moved from Savannah, and I was doing the whole 9 to 5 thing. I moved in with them, and everyone was trying to be. There was a singer there was a producer, there was like a few rappers, we were all in this one big double-decker house in Decatur, Georgia, and everyone had a mission. And Rockmos caught me putting on my tie, going to Radio Shack. I was working at Radio Shack, and I worked at Radio Shack downstairs and Foot Locker upstairs. So I came to work in the tie, and I put the polyester stripes in the backpack.
Yeah,
you don't have to iron the polyester. You can do Clark Kent, Superman. That was my jam when I first moved to Atlanta.
Wow.
That was my jam. I had one job to pay the bills, one job to go out if you're going to go out in Atlanta. That's law. So I'm putting on my tie. Rock was like, hey, man, Griff, Griff spoke to Griff and Public Enemy needs a DJ. I'm putting on my tie and getting dressed and everything. And he want to know if you can do it. I'm thinking he's fucking with me, like, dude, that's not funny. I'm going to make it, man. You fuck with me. I'm trying to get to work. That shit ain't funny. Fuck you, dude. Boom, slam the door. I'm on to work. Come home from work. Who's in the living room?
No.
DJ Lord, hey man, what's up, Griff? Yeah, man, what's up? Hey, check this out. I heard about you. Rockmos told me about you, and saw you in a few battles in Atlanta. Terminator X is retiring. We need a DJ for Public Enemy. You think you can handle it? Wow. Yeah, man.
Wow.
Cool.
Just like that, huh?
Just like that. After that, 1 week to expedite my passport. 1 week to learn this instant replay machine, this the box thing that everyone uses in radio stations, everything that holds music.
Yeah.
3rd week, headed to Belgium, no rehearsal.
Wow.
Boom.
No shit.
Green as an apple, nervous, pressing the wrong button, cueing the wrong songs, watching the show, getting consumed in the show, watching Chuck and Flavor because I grew up on Public Enemy and they were my heroes. So pressing the wrong song, everyone's like, oh, there we go, the young guy again, except Chuck and Flavor. Everyone gave me shit except Chuck and Flavor. Chuck is like, ain't going to the, I pressed the wrong song. He do that song, can't go back. So about 2 weeks of that, And dude, Chuck's like, every time, come on, man, we get him next time. We get him next time. Flavor, we come on, Lord, we get him next time. G, no big deal. Come on, Lord.
Wow.
More encouragement, I'm overseas. I've never been overseas. The food is different. The people are different. The vibe is different. The time zone is different.
Yeah.
I'm young, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It wasn't until I decided to be DJ Lord or DJ Lord of SWAT back then that I got it. I was so busy trying to be Terminator X and get back in the pocket. By that time, no disrespect to Terminator X, but I was a turntablist and I was battling. And a lot of the sounds and everything, I was doing a lot. I didn't record them. There were no studio tricks. They were just live and I was raw. But I was so busy trying to be him, that I was basically suppressing myself. So I figured out how to do, like, say, Rebel Without a Pause with the rock, roll. My version was like rock, roll, turntablist style, which is a whole nother level of scratching. So I would figure I would do 4 bars his way, 4 bars my way. And I got it. It's like, why weren't you doing that before? Because in doing the show, I'm in my own head trying to do him. I'm not Terminator X. You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So once I figured that out, Chuck is like, you're not going back to the old way. You bring a breath of fresh air to the group. Welcome to the family.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Just like that. Just like that.
Now, at the time in 98, is Professor Griff still in Public Enemy?
He was still in Public Enemy.
And he was kind of the guy that was in charge of like finding the new DJ. Like Chuck wasn't like, I got to find a DJ. Wow.
Griff would take on that job. Even when we got the band, Griff went and scouted out the band when we had a live band with us.
Right, right.
They're literally called the band, BANNED. And Griff's job is to go out and recruit these guys and bring them just to rehearsals, and we give them a shot. And some made it, some didn't. Then we got a tight band, and we hit the road. But yeah, I met Griff, and because he knew Rockmos, Rockmos did production for him. And I thought Rock was I thought he was like bullshitting me, and I was all pissed, putting on my tie and slamming the door that morning because I'm trying to make it. I'm doing martial arts at night. I got 2 jobs. I just moved from Savannah. Everyone's telling me this is the place to be to make it. It's not happening. I'm in Atlanta. It's like everyone in Savannah's like, you'll be back. They always come back. You're not going to make it.
And that's during the Hotlanta era. Like, they like people know there's different hip hop explosions. You had New York.
Right.
You had Compton and all of the gangster rap era of that stuff. Then you had Oakland was popping off for a while. And then Hotlanta, Atlanta was just crazy. That whole Buckhead area was full hip hop, Yep.
Had a lot of clubs. Clubs they're all gone. They're all gone right now.
Was Griff living in Atlanta at the time?
Yep.
Wow.
He still lives there.
And when you get the gig, I always like to ask this, but because I never ask, but when people say you want to do something, I go, oh yeah. I just say, yeah. Later on, do you go, hey, what's the money? You know what I mean? Because yeah.
I had no interest in it. It's like, you want to do it? Okay.
Yeah.
It's always $5 a gig. Okay. It's like, I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah. See you later, Foot Locker.
Right. I didn't find out the money until I actually got paid. And I was like, well, this is cool. You get paid for this too?
Yeah.
It wasn't a factor. He said, let's go. I said, gone.
Yeah.
And, obviously I didn't realize the magnitude of it because once I got out there, I was like, what did I do? And a lot of nights up, man. A lot of conversations with Chuck on that tour bus, 3-4 in the morning on the way to like Germany and places like that. And Chuck we call him Superman, bro. And then, that's my brother. And he showed me the ropes from A to Z. I'm talking everything from meeting people on the road to how to deal with people on the road and just road etiquette, all the whole 9. And Public Enemy is respected worldwide. And a lot of the newer guys, a lot of the Tupacs and the Naughty by Natures and the NWAs, and they went out with Public Enemy,
right?
As newbies, and were shown the ropes. Even when Tupac was dancing, background dancer with Digital Underground.
That's when I saw him. Yeah,
way back to that.
Yep.
And everyone just grew up on the road as family.
Yeah, I saw Public Enemy on the Fight the Power, Do the Right Thing, combo era, Shoreline, Public Enemy, Digital Underground with Tupac, and I think Ray Love opened. And one of the greatest shows I've ever seen, Public Enemy.
Put it down.
Dudes like Chuck D and Ice Cube, they really understood right away, survival. You want to survive in this business, you got to figure out how to survive. And then once you do, they pass it on to people. And if they listen, they listen. If they don't, they don't, even down to, cupping the microphone like that, get your hand off the fucking element, dude.
Fucking mic.
I remember Ice Cube was like, the first thing I tell everyone, get your hand off the element,
Stop cupping the mic. Stop cupping the mic.
So after you do this Europe run, what starts to happen? They come home and you're just a member all of a sudden?
We come home, it happens, it becomes a blur, and I'm back to the 9-to-5 thing.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, because remember, Public Enemy wasn't touring like that. Public Enemy was touring in spurts. So you can't go off and be a rock star somewhere, especially not you, young guy, young grasshopper who just moved from Savannah, Georgia, who's living in a house with like 7 other groups trying to make it. You know what I mean? So I managed to get out of that situation and into my own apartment. I was able to do that at least.
Right.
But it wasn't enough to say, okay, boom, I'm going to be a DJ. I'm going to travel the world, because they weren't touring like that. So I had to go back into the corporate world as Lord of Swad, who is secretly the DJ for Public Enemy on tour whenever they tour, because they ain't touring. So I gotta hold it in. So I'm in there. By this time, I've already passed the Foot Locker and Radio Shack. So now I'm in Crawford and Company. I'm working because I was blessed with the glasses and I can cut the beard, a kick goatee, whatever, and I know how to speak to people. And I was always good at customer service and things like that. So I got a job at Crawford and Company calling Sanjay Gupta every day to set up the Sanjay Gupta, the doctor, heart doctor, calling them every day to set up echocardiograms for a big lawsuit, the diet drug Fen-Phen. If you remember those late night commercials, take Fen-Phen, lose weight, get ready for the summer, so, be beautiful. They didn't tell you that shit deteriorates your heart from the inside out.
Oh, blows up your heart.
There was a big lawsuit. My job was to contact Sanjay Gupta to let him know the claimants I have that qualify to be in the settlement, to get them a free ecocardiogram to see if they qualify.
Right.
It was a mission. Now, all this is after me coming off tour back and forth, like every other 3 weeks we tour, then another 4 weeks off. So I'm like, oh God, I gotta get a job. I need insurance. I gotta get my teeth cleaned. And a lump sum money is great, but that money gets done fast.
Quick.
So, and I'm young, so I couldn't get past people. I would be calling rural areas, Crawford and Company, this is Lord. Who? Crawford and Company, this is Lord. Is that your real name?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This is Lord. I'm trying to get you some money. See if you qualify for echocardiogram, get you screened at the local YMCA. So you're in Iowa? Is that really your name? Yes, ma'am. That's my name. I'm not going to call you that. Is anybody else that I can help me with my echocardiogram? Ma'am, I'm actually the supervisor. I'm just trying to get you screened to see if you qualify. We're trying to get you some money because, these big bad Fen-Phen people trying to get you a check. I'm not going to call you that. I need to speak to a manager. Ma'am, I am the manager. Can I help you? On my call log, customer service, when they check you out at the end of the month, my call log was like this. And my boss was like, Lord, do you mind telling me why your call log is down? I mean, what are you doing on these phone calls? Looks like you're just fucking off. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm tongue wrestling with people about my name.
Oh man.
I never can get past the intro of my name.
Wow.
So I start, okay, Crawford and Company. This is LA.
Yeah. LA.
Boom. Yeah. This is LA. Crawford and Company, this is LA. Done deal. Yeah. I need an echocardiogram. I took the diet drug and I'm having problems and da. Boom. That was my job. That was my job in and out, on tour and back. And luckily I had a cool supervisor that kept it under wraps. So I would take leave of absence.
Yeah, that's a cool job. You got to, the way to survive in art, I always love people that say, like, I'm not getting no job. I'm the real deal. And I'm like, well, that ain't going to happen, because you're going to be putting weight on all kinds of other people living on their couches and bumming money. But when you find that magic boss, and I always thought that they should have a special place in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for the cool boss. I had the cool boss. He goes, look, dude, you're my best motorcycle seller, but I got to lay you off, man, because I saw you do comedy, and I know this is what you should be doing. It's going to cost me a lot of money, but I'm going to lay you off, and you can get out there and, and hustle.
Do your thing.
Yeah, nice. Yeah. And those bosses that would let you come and go. Back in the day when I had long hair, when you had long hair back in the day, you couldn't work anywhere except construction. Now you can have like a full face tattoo and work at Chipotle, But back then, man, it was like, if you could find a cool boss that let you split out and do Public Enemy, then all the stress is gone, because you're like, okay, I can concentrate on work when I'm here for this guy. And then when I go out with PE, I can concentrate on that.
Dude, I did that. That was me in a nutshell. And luckily, and crazy how you say with the hairstyles, I had dreads in Savannah.
Yeah.
I was 17 working construction with hardened 60-year-old men, doing foundation work and insulation, coming home itching everything because I couldn't get another job.
Right.
I had full on dreads.
And you need your look, you know what I mean? You got to have your look. Yeah.
Right. But definitely big shouts out to the cool bosses, bro. And only thing I had to do, I didn't have to do it, but I would bring them stuff from like around the world. I would bring one female boss brought her like a silk scarf, and I would bring Jerry, my other boss, I'll bring him like something from Uruguay or something from Spain or something from just to show a token of my appreciation, because they will let me just come right back with my tie and shirt and get right back to my desk, have a stack of paperwork. No one would say a thing until the haters arrived.
That's what happens.
People start noticing.
Yeah.
Lord is not here. How does Lord get to leave so much? How does Lord get to do this? How does Lord get to do that?
Yeah.
So they kept them at bay for a while, and then the project we didn't complete the project, but the project shrunk. We got a lot of the work done, so the office went from like 20 cubicles to like 10. You see what I mean? And then my boss got another job, and their boss got another job. So now we got a new smoking gun that came in, and they're trying to figure out, how does he get to leave and all this leave of absence stuff? You see what I mean? So he made me his priority. But by the time it was all over, I left and came back, and I was getting every morning, my stuff is stacked up. I see him walk past. Oh my God, I can't believe this. In my office now. I turn around, get up, go to this guy's office. Lord, you mind telling me he found out from the haters, of course.
Of course.
And I knew exactly who it was. And it's like, you don't take a leave of absence to go on tour, Lord.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's calling himself drilling. But by this time, again, I started this when the office was like 24. Now it's like 4 cubicles, me and a few higher ups. We're closing the last cases of this big multi-million-dollar lawsuit that we won on. So he took this was his time to get me back, and Miss Deborah, the boss who hired me, she was in there, and she was just like, because she knew what was coming, and she tried to give me a heads up. And I was like, "You done?" "Yeah, I'm done, because you don't okay." And I stood up and hugged Miss Deborah. She started, tearing up, because she brought me in. We're talking 3 years of this, Dean. And I packed like the movies, got my little box crate.
Yeah.
got my things at my desk and everything, put it all inside there. My Flavor Flav, my Chuck D guy, put it all in the box, and I was out. And I jumped full on in the cold pool of hip hop and being a full on DJ, and never turned back. That was my last job that I had, my last corporate job.
That's great.
And
what year was that?
Oh, sheesh. That was like 2001 that I full on like, you know what, bro, either you're going to jump in this cold pool And you know what happens with the cold pool is once you get in, oh man, this water's great. But in the beginning, you're 1, 2, shit's gonna be cold. 4, go, and you jump in. But by the time you warm up, you're good. So it's like, either you're gonna do this or not.
Right.
And I jumped in, and that was my last corporate job, bro. That was it. That was definitely 2000, 2001.
Once you get into that, Public Enemy starts to tour a lot more also.
Yeah. A year after that. So it took me a lot of floating around, like you said.
Right. And do you start to do some kind of like guest spinning on people's records, or how are you collecting up some work? What's going on there?
I was doing everything.
Right.
I was trying to be, club DJ.
Right.
I started, working at MJQ. I still have a residency at MJQ to this very day, which is crazy. Yeah. On every last Friday of the month, called The Standard. So I was doing little small clubs and, around the city. By this time I was just wrapping up the whole DJ battle thing. So I think I stopped battling in 2001, and they had DJ competitions where you could win money, like the Cool Mix. It was a cigarette company. So it was short lived. I mean, sounds like a joke, but the protesters weren't having that shit. So, but they helped a lot of bedroom DJs, eat, because they were offering like $2,500 for first place and $500 in records at your local record store. And then the grand prize is like $10,000, and the grand prize, you can win a Scion. They had that going on, dude. And like I said, they were a godsend. Cigarette companies, but
yeah.
It saved my ass. Okay, I'm gonna say that. I put that on the record.
I did a lot of Lucky Strike gigs when they reissued that brand Lucky Strike. It'd be like Lucky Strike concert series, and they're giving you like $5,000 to do a gig, which is unheard of.
Right. Same principle. Same thing I was doing. So I was doing that. Then I started doing some work with like Red Bull, where Red Bull was doing a lot of functions, and I was tied in with them. So I was staying afloat with things that would come my way. I didn't have a manager per se, but I had people looking out for me that were in those positions. And I got a list of individuals that I still thank people to this day who think I forgot. I would think I'm out of nowhere. Like, you know what, man, that time when you called me, I was mastering my ability to remix ramen noodles, and I'm a ramen noodle champ, dude. I never used the packet, but the noodles and the imitation crab meat, or with the egg, or survival of the fucking fittest. So I had to get smart with it. I had to get on my shit, and yeah.
It's funny too. Also, what happened in the world. We had the hip hop DJ, and they were the kings. And then all of a sudden, this world of the Vegas residency DJ came in, DJ AM, and these guys started to make their name for themselves. And really, when all of the that thing of just, putting songs together, and that whole thing came together, of like the collab of all the songs and stuff, and the mashup, and then the kind of Ibiza house music meets hip hop DJ started happening, and then the costume DJs with the helmets or masks and stuff. All of that stuff really started to overshadow the true hip hop DJ, because it became about giant money at Vegas residencies, right?
Yeah, right.
It's wild to think about where that went. And then the anger of like people just going like, oh, fuck them. And it's like, what do you care, man? Like, they fucking make $5 million. They don't do nothing. They push buttons, whatever, man. But hey, they pushed the right button, man. They won. But I get it,
What are you going to do?
Yeah, what are you going to do? If it's not for you, it's not for you. But it is amazing. My point of that is where it came from, actual DJing, to where the level it got to, which is crazy, right? These dudes are full stars in Vegas, giant stars, global stars,
global stars.
Yeah.
I was never really able to get into that whole Vegas scene. There was one time that I almost got into it. Body English.
Right.
It's a place called Body English out there when AM. I think AM was going to Pure. And by this time I had a manager who was trying to get me into that whole Vegas scene, because back then it was like, oh my gosh, we couldn't believe it. That was the ultimate. Yeah, that's the ultimate work smarter, not harder. And we're hearing a lot of DJs of lesser caliber. We're getting these crazy gigs and flying in on a private jet and staying in the bowling ball suite and bringing friends. And it's like, what? We're doing
Paris
what?
Hilton was fucking DJ.
Paris Hilton.
Like,
we're like, whoa.
Yeah.
So I was supposed to get DJ AM's job, rest in peace, DJ AM. And he was going to Pure. Pure was there was a new club in Vegas at the time.
Right.
And I'd already been there and met the guy, and I'm seeing the car. These are dope cars. And the guy's like, oh, these are DJ's cars. Wait till you see the other cars. I'm talking Lamborghinis, everything parked on the side. So I've already did the walkthrough and everything, bro. And we get a call saying, yeah, but no. What do you mean no? We got the paperwork's already in. We're ready to go.
Yeah.
Apparently, my affiliation with Public Enemy got me denied the job.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was like a big thing involving like some politician I was supposed to DJ for it or something involving politics or some new guy out there. And I was booked to do that gig, which was leading into my residency there. And the Public Enemy affiliation got me denied. Because the only thing they saw is Public Enemy and fight the power and government.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is going to be trouble. My
manager at the time is trying to explain, no. He does this. He battles. He spins club music. He spins dubstep. He does EDM. He can do all. He's a DMC champion. They weren't hearing that shit. The only thing they saw was that target, and they were like, nah, bro. And I was crushed. I was crushed.
Yeah. Oh, I could imagine. It's like because those are big paydays that allow you to do other great art in your life. Like you could just from there on out do whatever you want to do because you're just
in Vegas, and no one knew. I was pretty much unheard of on that side of the world.
Yeah.
Now, if they went crazy over this, our thinking was this: if they went crazy over this, where did they get it? Wait until they get a load of you. You know what I mean? It's like you're freaking insane. You can do all of that plus because you got all these backgrounds. You got the EDM background. You got the hip hop foundation. You listen to rock. You spin rock. You got routines with rock. You're 360. Even back then, Sandra was saying this, and it's like, but I never got in that door. And once that happened, it kind of put a bad taste in my mouth about Vegas. So I focused back over this hip hop world again. And just dove headfirst into the Public Enemy. It's like, okay, you guys are afraid. Okay, I'll show you. I will show you.
Yeah.
And that was my whole thinking with that. Just go get them.
Absolutely.
And I left that whole Vegas thing.
It's kind of cooled off anyway. It's like you don't really hear about that stuff as much as you did. I mean, the DJs are still out there, but it's not like they've kind of circled back, which is funny, to live music.
Right.
And look, here you are. You're in the right platform for that,
Full circle. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy how shit works like that, bro.
Yeah. Before they're like, nobody wants to see instruments. They just want a guy up there and a mouse head. So okay. It's crazy.
It's crazy.
Let's get into a little bit of the history of the equipment because I was spinning in the 2000s in clubs in LA to survive, to keep playing music. I was like a rock DJ. There was like Samantha Ronson, DJ AM was around, all these different people. We were spinning in clubs. And, that was like when Serato first started happening, and I was using Tractor early on and stuff like that.
Game changers.
Yeah, game changers, leaving the vinyl at home. That's when I was able to DJ because I only had a motorcycle. I couldn't put vinyl up on the bike. I would just show up with the computer and DJ. So let's go in through the history of that. So a lot of people, if you know, there was vinyl and you had the two tables and you had to have your vinyl and you would put the fucking vinyl together and make the tune. Then this program comes out called Serato. And basically you could have a fake piece of vinyl and just scratch off stuff in your music catalog, right?
Right.
So when that starts to come, and it's a whole new era, because the reason I wanted to talk about this was I saw recently you were talking about I've been way out of it for years now, but there's like fake needles now and stuff. What's going on? I don't know what it was. I just saw you were talking about there's like some kind of new setup.
I know what you're talking. Phase.
Yeah.
Phase with the little signals on top of the platter on the record.
Right.
Man, since Serato dropped, shouts out to Serato.
Big time.
Oh my God.
Big time.
The whole game changed. And I was also one of those that carried crates and crates of records. Even when I started getting gigs abroad, overseas, airlines would start smiling when they would see me coming, dude. For as baggage fees, $150 here, $75 there.
Yeah.
And you just walking through the airport just uncomfortable as fuck. And it's like backpack and all this other shit. And I was one of those diehard vinyl fans. And I'm like, even when Serato was out, I was like, because, other DJs always cheating. It's just that we were completely confused.
I remember.
Is a better term. Everyone's saying DJs who used it, they was hating on the guys that were using it. I wasn't hating on it, but I was like, it's not for me. I'm a purist and I like vinyl and I still love vinyl. Still got my vinyl collection. Well, it's trimmed down and neat now with all the, I don't have a room full of records anymore with my friends ignoring my calls when I move, when it's time to move, because they know that you're going to be sore as fuck. So, dude, but I was one of those guys. And I think my last time having that mentality was in Boston. DJ Revolution and I were doing a gig and we were headlining back to back. And I come in there with my silver cases, my Joker stickers on it and everything. And boom, boom, boom. DJ Laura's in the house. I got vinyl. The opening guy had Serato, because Serato was not cheap. Okay, number one. So if you bought it, you had to commit to it, or unless you had like a link in it. And not many people were endorsed by Serato. They were very selective on who. I was one of the last. Okay, so. Somehow the opening guy had a Serato box and a laptop. So I'm like, all right, I wanted to give him shit, but in my head, I'm like,
this guy's fake.
yeah. It was in the back of my head because we didn't understand it. Okay.
Right.
This guy played 80% of my record collection and he was the opening DJ.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kicked me in the nuts, humbled me quickly.
Wow.
Luckily, I was able to scratch and bring records back and get on the mic. Who wants to hear it again? Scratch to extend my set for the records that he didn't play and let it come off, versus, damn, the opening guy played that song. Oh, opening guy played that song. Oh, he played that too. Oh, he played that one too. You're the headliner. What are you doing? How is he smoking you?
Yeah.
After that, hey, Serato. Hey, it's DJ Lord, man. I love your product. And I got cool with Serato, dude.
Yeah.
And after that, it was like, I dove full on it. Like I said, I still play vinyl. I still collect, eclectic pieces of vinyl, like, classic pieces. I still got my diehard collection that I learned on. But dude, the digital age is here. And either you get with it or get left behind like the dinosaurs, and you see what happened to them. So I have no problem with the digital age. I embrace it. I love the new technology. I love the phase technology. It blew my mind when I first saw it.
What is the phase technology?
It's basically like little they're like that. They go over the spindle on the turntable,
right?
And they spin with the turntable and they send a signal to a little hub that they have. and it's wireless now. The latest upgrade is wireless. So there's no RCAs, no nothing. It's basically sends a signal to that spinning. So you can have anything that's spinning. And what's on your computer through Serato will play.
Wow.
Backwards, as long as it's spinning. So it's on there. So you have no problems with rumble, bad connection on the turntable. Can you imagine if we went and did our thing for Metallica and they would be like, oh, these turntables are bad. One RCA is off. Oh my God, the needles are shot. Can you imagine how disastrous that would have been?
Oh man, I can't imagine because there's 20,000 people in this arena.
Oh my gosh, who didn't want us there in the first place? So
didn't know who the fuck we were.
Right. Yeah. So imagine. So I bypass little bullshit problems like that, and I used to run into those problems all the time because a lot of people don't use turntables anymore. They use a little controller thing. So I'm doing a gig after TS still was here last week. You guys got the gear that we sent for the router? Yeah, we dusted off these Technique 1200s, and here you go. The RCA's busted. The needles don't match. The cases are wonky. And now the show is less than 2 hours.
Yeah.
They got to find new equipment. With this new technology, the phase situation, all I need is something that spins.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
That's it.
That's crazy.
No connections, no needles, no whatever. Plug and play for the most part. And we're rolling. And even, it's crazy. And even I use that and also use the Rain 12. Shouts out to Rain with the Rain 12. They're basically looks like turntables, platter and everything, no needle. The spins MIDI, does the same thing with the phase, but with no little unit thing. The whole unit is one turntable and it's spinning. So that's plug and play. No frills, no nothing. So I think Cypress Hill just got a set of those for me. So we started using those because in festivals, it's go time, bro. You don't have time to be adjusting no needles and all that other stuff. You don't have that kind of time. So those are the ultimate touring tools. And I stand by that 100%.
Yeah. So no needles.
No needles.
It's just movement. And once you got the movement, then it's just, that's all it's all on computer now.
All your music's in your computer. And these platters just are picking up on your MP3s on your computer. And you're scratching and you're going back and forth and spinning back and everything. And 99.9% accuracy.
Wow. Why
go through the bullshit? Why on tour? That is for me, that is the only way because I've been on the other side. If you're a new guy, I recommend you start with needles. I'm not trying to tell DJs, just go straight to the newest technology and, Apple Music and get a lot of songs and you're a DJ. You're not a DJ. I'm talking from a learning perspective and having those disastrous fucking shows and 20,000, 30,000 people. And I got needle skips over here or needle problems, or this needle isn't reading, or this turntable is only playing on the left side. Who is interested in hearing some DJ complain about their equipment? We came to see a show. The only thing you know is DJ Laura is whack and he ruined that show. We don't care about the needle and all. You know what I mean? So do you want to take that risk? Yeah. And at this level of my development, I can't do that anymore.
No.
I can't do that. So this is where I am, and keep up with technology or get left behind like the fucking dinosaurs. And I choose to keep up with technology. It's a beautiful thing. It blows my mind. I would never have imagined that we will be here with this kind of technology with turntables. Out of all the needles I've broken, out of all the needles I've stolen when I didn't have money for needles, out of all the needles I've ruined, out of all the needles, all of that, man. And now needles are expensive as fuck to buy.
The needles are thanking you now too. Like, thank you. Get off,
get off me.
Stop trashing me.
Right. So now a lot of the dominant needle companies not even around anymore. Sure, they're not around anymore.
Wow.
You can't even get the number one needle that we were using for scratching, which was the M447.
Wow.
Now, resellers doing it, different companies, but I mean, Ortofon is still around, but I mean, dude, upgrade.
Let's talk a little bit how we met. I think it's one of the magic magic stories in my life. Just first of all, loving Public Enemy my entire the history of Public Enemy since the day I heard them, and then finding out coming out of a colonoscopy that I was going to open for Metallica. I didn't really ask you how you were called or anything because I wanted to let everybody know, and I talked about it before, but you and I didn't know each other at all. And basically, when I get the call, do you want to do open for Metallica? I say yes and hang up. Like I said earlier to you, I didn't ask how much. I didn't ask what it was. Same. I was honored to do it. And then later on, 4 days later, when we meet, I'm like, what are we doing? And you're like, I don't know. I heard it's no this. Idea. And I go, I heard it was this too. And let's go there. And basically in a matter of an hour of us knowing each other, we have to put together a chemistry and a show for 20,000 people, 2 nights, and in one of the greatest bands of all time. And my favorite band, and to figure out something that is going to work that we have never done before. So let's get into it. How do you get the call, and how far out did you know you were doing the gig? And was there somebody else before you doing the gig and they didn't do it? What happens with this?
I got a call, or I got a message from my manager, Lori Bula, saying that basically, are you sitting down?
Yeah.
One of those situations, like we're opening for Metallica. Yeah. And I'm like, bullshit. I'm like, no, because that opportunity happened before, but I was with Prophets of Rage, so I couldn't do it. They had Mixmaster Mike on a different, it was actual tour opening. So when she told me this, I was like, nah, you're bullshit. She was like, I'm serious. And it's going to be like, I think it was like in about 2 weeks. You got like a week's notice or something like that.
Right.
2 week window that it was happening. And I still couldn't believe it. I was like, she said, are you down? Are you in? I was like, yes, let's go. Yeah. And she told me back to back. I was like, nah, you gotta be kidding me. But I'm still in. Still in. And like you said, I just basically hung on the phone and it hit me like, opening for Metallica.
Yeah.
I'm opening for Metallica. And it's like, started hitting me gradually as the date came closer. And that's how it basically was presented to me. And I didn't know, I think we were like first choice. They didn't have anybody else as far as like to compare and all that stuff. They were just down with it.
Right.
Because she was finding out, I was like, are they down with that? I kept saying, she's like, yeah, I'm going to verify and see everything. It's like, oh, their crew is awesome. And they're open to it. And they want to make sure everybody shines. And they told me about the DJ booth and the idea. And they were open to my ideas. And I was like, okay, I'm definitely in. Let's run with this.
Yeah. Yeah. So we stayed at separate hotels because there was so many crew. We were next door to each other in different hotels, but so we had not seen each other. And then I'm in the van. We pick you up. We're rapping about some hip hop, my love of hip hop and the flavor of the Bay Area and everything.
That was dope.
Yeah. When we get to the arena, they're like, we're not ready for you there. We're there 4 hours early. We thought we'll just pop over there for sound check and then we'll go back. And we meet with a couple guys and they hand us this kind of paperwork, kind of map of here's what we want to do. We want to have you do 6 minutes, DJ Lord 12, then introduce a video, and we'd do that 3 segments. And we're like, oh okay, let's. So you and I, we go out. We see your setup. It's a massive round stage. You got this killer setup, and the drum kit's in the middle, and we kind of sound check and we get ready for the night. It's a long wait in the dressing rooms, and then boom, it's time for us to go up. And I don't know what was going through your mind, but mine was like, all of a sudden I was like, fuck. I fucked this up. It's their 40-year party, and the band introduced us and brought us on stage. It was crazy, right?
That was crazy, bro. Everything was going in slow motion. I don't know whether you could tell everything was going in slow motion for me. Even my responses were like, yeah, we can go there and the sound is going to be great. But it felt like, I just felt like I was frozen in carbonite. And like you said, with the list, and we had to come up with this and
you didn't know me and I didn't know you.
And we didn't know each other. So it was just like, okay. Yeah. We kind of start chatting, and we try to chat in the middle of all this chaos. And we was like, okay. And I was like, he's cool. He's just, let's just go with it. And let's roll.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are we rolling to? I don't know, but let's roll. Let's roll. It's happening in like 2 hours.
I'm just firing things at you. I think we can do on the fly. Like, man, when a joke doesn't fly, you can kind of just like, like you could be like my Ed McMahon over there, like blah blah blah, and you're like, man, it doesn't work like that, man. I gotta get this shit going. And I'm forgetting you still have to do your fucking thing, and I'm like trying to establish my survival, because I don't have any loud music. So it was
and there's sharks everywhere. We're surrounded by sharks.
Oh, big sharks.
Dude. Big sharks.
Great whites.
Jeez Louise, dude. Yeah. That was pressure. It
was the most pressure of my entire life. It took a long time to come down from that. And and I realized once you say yes, and then you get to the arena, you realize, oh, I'm actually got to do this now, and like yourself, I think the thousands of gigs that I've done had gotten me ready for anything that was going to happen. And shit was happening. The video stopped working because they wanted me to introduce videos. And then the server went down.
That was crazy too. So that put more pressure on us to figure out some other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Even if we had a plan to slam the ball this way, had to switch and come this way, we had to pull a Jordan. That was crazy.
It really was crazy, right? And the first night was just kind of chaotic. Of course, I was just realized, once the server went down, now I became kind of this hype man. And I was just trying to arena tricks of like, let me hear the cheap seats, and that wasn't working. And then you realize, oh, wait a minute, these people from around the world. So local reference jokes aren't working. And you just start to try to figure it out. And by the end of our first night, we did figure it out. We got out of there, but there was definitely a mode of let's fucking go out kicking ass on the second night.
Hell yeah. We weren't having it the second night.
No.
We weren't having that shit the second night because we already figured out and spat that blood out from the night previous. We were ready.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted to thank you also because I am a 99.5% positive guy. But when the hometown newspaper said that I got booed off stage, which was a total lie.
That was some bullshit. I posted it up and I was angry. And then you were like, nah, man, let's not go with that. And you were right, because that's how I would have handled it also. Like, nah, my first reaction was pull out the gun and shoot, Right. Don't give them that satisfaction.
Yeah. It was interesting to have somebody say that. And look, I know about fake news because of the politics we're in now and everything. But when you're making up stuff about a performer, then it's just like, oh, well, it just comes with the territory. You're going to get that. What are you going to do, man? If you choose to perform, there's going to be positives and negatives. And
that's right.
And thank God on that too, because if everybody loves you, you're doing something wrong. You're
doing something very wrong, bro.
Yeah.
And like I said, haters gonna hate.
Yep. Oh, what was that thing you said about hate goes to another level or something on your on your Instagram or Twitter or something? It was great 2 days ago. Something hate. Hold on, let me find that. It was good. Hold on. DJ Lord.
I come up with these things out of my mind.
Which, by the way, everybody follow him, DJ Lord Official on Twitter. And I think that's the same on Instagram.
It was DJ Lord on Instagram.
Yeah, and great stuff on here. Shit, I wanted to find that. It was something about haters. I loved it. It was
something about levels, that once you get to certain levels, don't think that. Oh gosh.
Right. That was it. It was that some levels of hate go up also, or whatever.
Yeah. Just because you get to the next level doesn't mean that.
Here it is. I got it. Don't think that just because you made it to the next level that the haters and naysayers disappear. Remember, new levels bring new devils. I love that, man.
That's real talk.
Steve Maraboli. That's real talk. Yeah, it's funny. What I don't think people understand is the level of pressure that gig was. And I'm not going to sit here and look for some kind of like, well, you try it, but it is one. I mean, this is a band's 40-year anniversary. This is their party, and they asked you to be part of it, and you just want them happy. Look, if the audience dug it, cool, but I was more concerned that the band went, that was cool, man.
Right. And they did.
Yeah, they did at that party. Holy shit. Yeah. It was so good to us. And hats off to Metallica for always saying, fuck you. We don't do what you guys want us to do. We need to constantly try different stuff. We're not robots. We want to constantly try different shows. And to me, that is the greatest thing about this band. They've constantly had the people like, well, they sucked when they cut their hair. Well, they sucked when they did a record with Lou Reed. They say, and they're like, yeah, whatever you say, man.
Whatever you say, buddy. We'll be here.
Yeah, 40 years, yeah. Have you done anything for 40 years?
That's right.
So that second night, though, I would say it was pretty magic. I figured out I don't need to be up there when you're on, Right. You're up there doing your thing, and the videos worked. And the audience, right when you and I walked on, I remember looking at you and saying, oh, this audience is better.
This is it. We felt it as soon as we got up there. It was like, okay, we're gonna take it to him, bro. And our fist bump was like, yo, we're gonna take it to him.
Yeah.
It was a whole different kind of vibe.
It was. I got goosebumps right now. Actually, I can feel it because I felt like Rocky. You know what I mean? Like, fucking dun, 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 dun. We're here we come again, round two.
Round two. Spit that blood out.
And it's easy to say, well, the videos didn't work, then it got clunky and it kind of fell apart. But those are fucking boomerangs that were thrown at us, and the people on the outside don't understand. We didn't have months to put together a show. We had a week or so, and we didn't know each other.
So the chemistry thing wasn't already pre-planned. We got there and we made that happen.
Yeah.
And luckily, you're easygoing, I'm easygoing. We got good energy, and we just meshed like that. It could have been much worse.
Oh,
it could have been much worse.
Oh, yeah. And I tell you what, man, I am so happy that I shared that memory with you, because as I went home that night after the party ended at like 4, I laid down in bed for a couple hours before the airport. I just laid there and thought, like, no cooler dude to do it with than you. It was, it felt magic, man. That second night when we rocked it and got off, you and I walked straight up to the dressing room. We were like, fuck yeah.
Jumping up and shit.
We're like, yeah, that went off. And I mean, I knew it was going to go off when I started doing like 8 minutes of comedy or 7 minutes of comedy, one good straight run of comedy, and it was working.
It was working.
Like, oh, they're listening. These guys are
popping.
On board. Yeah,
it was popping, dude. And we made that happen. And you remember the vibe when we got off stage and everyone was like, no, the walk through backstage and the left, right, and people all over there. That was crazy too.
It was.
That was crazy.
It was.
You guys killed it. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Night and day. The first night, they were like, we still had that, but they weren't like that. They weren't like the home team champions running through there.
No, we were the first night. We were like an opening band that did okay. You know what I mean?
We got it done.
We got it done. And Lars said the greatest thing at that after party. He's like, see, second night, you guys figured it out. Then, tomorrow, if we were on tour, we would be in Fresno and it would get a little better and we would get better. And then by the time we hit Phoenix, we would be a fist just mowing people down, and I was like, he's right, man. He's right.
He's right.
Because you and I, correct. After a week or so, would have figured that shit out and it would have been monstrous.
Oh, yeah.
The 40-year anniversary weight would be off our shoulders and it would be like, let's just rock this.
Right. Let's just rock this. It's another fucking arena. Let's go.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that. You're right, bro. We jumped in there and like, let them have it.
Yeah. It was magic, man. It was
I'm so happy you shook off that freaking idiot, whoever that was. I'm glad you shook that idiot energy off, dude. I was like, no.
Yeah.
As soon as you told me, I was like, no. We're not going to do that.
Yeah. It's funny too, because, to say, you got booed off. I'm like, the show's recorded, right? I mean, it's
documented.
You can't just make stuff up like that, but you know what? You're right. And that's the world I come from also. Keep, promote what's great, not what you hate, and just keep moving on, So it was, and also I got a great friend out of it, you. So it's just amazing to
word up.
It was funny too, as I was doing comedy. You had not heard me do comedy. I did one joke. I think it was the Elton John one. I looked over and you were laughing.
Right.
Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, because he's never heard my comedy. So this is funny,
I'm trying to focus on what I'm doing here. And you're like, what the fuck? God damn it, Gene. Put that shit back on.
That was funny shit, man.
That was funny.
Also, I want everybody to know that you are last when I had Cypress Hill on, you were not the DJ for them. I think it was Mixmaster Mike had come back, and now you are spinning with them. So congrats on that. You're spinning on two of the greatest ever. How did that happen?
Full power. Cypress, we've always been family. Even when I was DJing for Public Enemy, we were seeing each other on the road. And it was always like a family affair. I think the last gig was we were all in Milan. And, we invite them to our show. They invite us to their show. I think this particular one, we were on the same bill. So it was a serious family affair.
Wow.
But Be Real and I got real close from the Prophets of Rage thing, the Rage Against the Machine, Cypress, and Public Enemy collaboration. And B and I would hang tough on the road, bro. Super tough. And we already had the chemistry thing. So the dates that Mike couldn't make, B asked me, if you clear, could we bring you out, to DJ for a few gigs? I said, well, of course, bro. You set him up, I'll knock him down.
Yeah.
And I just, I clicked with Sindog, I clicked with Bobo, clicked with the management, and the rest is history. So B said, yo, man.
I was at the last Prophets of Rage gig ever.
At the Mayan.
Yeah.
2 shows at the Mayan. Yeah.
Yep. And I got to tell you, man, I thought that was one of the most fantastic mixes of metal and hard rock and hip hop that I'd ever seen. And I've seen all the collabs. I've seen the Public Enemy and Anthrax and, of course, the Run DMC and Aerosmith and all that. I've seen them all over the years, but that thing, what I liked about that was both groups had massive success. Mm-hmm. And the way the flow of the concert went, where it was like Prophets of Rage, and then the guys left the stage for a while, and you got some PE and Cypress hip hop tunes.
The hip hop set.
This shit was fucking great, man. I mean, you're getting Fight the Power, you're getting Rock Superstar, you're getting, all of the greatest of them. And these two incredible hip hop legends up there. It's just, man, it was great gig.
It was heavy, bro. We knocked a lot of shit out the park with that collaboration, man. That was a heavy 4 years. Heavy 4 years.
Yeah, and they had hits on their record, man. They had hits with Prophets of Rage, you know?
Yeah, we were just coming into our own. You know, we started with a sound, and we were looking for our sound. You know, we had the Rage Against the Machine sound. We had this, and so we had to do those songs. But the songs we were recording, we were slowly coming to our own. You know, as a matter of fact, we had just brought we had just enlisted Rick Rubin.
Wow.
For our next level. Wow. Before it got, you know,
right.
So who knows where it could have been? And we already had Brendan O'Brien for the first album.
He's a killer. He's the best.
Killer. Exactly. So you got Brendan, you got Rick Rubin, and we were just going into Rick, man, recording our new stuff. So
what was that? What was that hit? I loved it. The 110 Freeway. Oh my God, what's that?
Living on the 110.
Fuck.
Living on the 110.
Yeah. Yeah, that song is great, man.
Yeah, about LA's homelessness problem.
Yeah, those two voices together too. Just the sound of them, you know, how they play off of each other. You know, it was just a fantastic mix up. And you know, Brad Wilk, one of the greatest drummers ever. So holy shit, just up there, just playing some of the greatest funky beats. You know,
heavy,
yeah,
heavyweight business.
Yeah. Well, I got to tell you, man, it was an honor to talk to you, and you have a space in my heart that I'll never forget.
And you have a space in my heart that I'll never forget, sir.
And we share that night, those 2 nights together, and that weekend. And what a lot of people don't know is DJ Lord did the gig on the Friday night, and then got up at 7 a.m. and flew to LA to do the massive hip hop festival in LA.
With Cypress, yeah.
And flew back and did the gig on Sunday with Metallica. So a lot of people don't even know, man, this guy was on the move. On Saturday, I was in bed like, oh, I got to get this right. I got to get this fucking thing hitting, man. I was in bed all day trying to figure out, how can I get this thing fucking great? Meanwhile, you're shaking it off out there in LA.
Dude, I had to keep moving. I had to keep moving, man.
Yep.
I had to keep moving. I was like, I need to put this over here. Yeah. And now I got to bring this one back over here because I can't, you know, it doesn't stop. A whole nother version of hip hop don't stop. You know?
Yeah.
It just doesn't.
Tell everybody where to find you. You got Instagram and Twitter.
Got Instagram under DJ Lord. Got Twitter under DJ Lord Official. On YouTube, DJ Lord TV. You can find me there. You can find me on Public Enemies. You can find me on Cypress Hill.
And you got a documentary, right? Turntable Chronicles.
That's an old. I forgot about that too.
Yeah,
that's an old DVD that I put out. Probably
that's cool though.
Probably can't find it, but I did that. Got a lot of things jumping off right now. Got a lot of collaborations happening. Look for me on the new Cypress Hills album, late scratches for that coming out this year. Look for me with collaboration with Chuck D in the future.
Wow.
Chuck and I got some things under our sleeve. My partner 3PO, shouts out to 3PO. We're working on some stuff. My partner, POD Cody, we're working on some stuff, like on some mosh tape style stuff. We released a hip hop rock series mixtape when I was with Prophets of Rage. I gotta send those to you. It's called mosh tape, and it's a whole nother level. So yeah, just again trying to stay busy, man. We got some touring happening with Cypress Hill. Everyone's trying to figure out what the world is doing, you know, in the current condition. It's just crazy in the industry and everything else for that matter. But check me out on Instagram. Check me out on Twitter.
That's great. One last question. I forgot to ask you, but you did have an incredible metal set for the Metallica show. Did you grow up on metal out there in Savannah, Georgia at the same time you're listening to hip hop, or were you listening to all different music? What was going on with that?
I was always listening to different music. As far as the metal side, I had roommates that were into metal. Yeah. So I had my hip hop thing, and, you know, Greg and EMD would always be playing either Nirvana, which is where I came up with that Nirvana Smell Like Teen Spirit routine because EMB would always play Smells Like Teen Spirit. And that was always in my head. Greg always had the freaking gotta keep them separated, Offspring and everyone. So so I give big props to them for introducing me to that side. And I just took a liking to it and just, it was always there. So even though I was heavily into hip hop, my ears were always open to like metal or that particular heavy sound that I could use in a routine for my DMC competition or ITF competition or DJ battles in general, because everyone is on this. Not many people was on that.
Yeah. You got other bullets in the chamber, man.
Exactly. So that's where that started. And I just kept an ear for it. And, you know, once I got with Public Enemy and we did Confrontation Camp, which is another spinoff we did with rap and metal with Griff and Kyle Jason and Chuck.
Wow.
So yeah. And then before that, I was with 420 Monks, which is Bones and Stuck Mojo. Yeah, if you remember that band and out of it. So I always had one foot in the rock world, always.
Awesome.
Always. And then fast forward to Prophets of Rage and Rage Against the Machine, which is crazy because I would always put, you know, who do you want to DJ for? Oh man, if I could only DJ for Public Enemy, oh man, that would be crazy. Boom. DJ for Public Enemy. Who else would you want to do? Rage Against the Machine, because I hear Tom. Yeah. I know they don't use a DJ, but if I ever get that chance, man, boom, somehow Prophets of Rage.
Wow.
And I think the only other one I had in mind like that was like The Roots or something like that.
Right.
When I made those kind of predictions and saying that wish list way back when I first started, wishing I could ever DJ for Public Enemy, man, because oh man, I would kill it. Oh man, I'm talking like yeah, and then boom, fast forward, it comes to freaking fruition. So
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you soon. Bro. And we will be crossing paths in 2022 for sure. Who knows? Maybe we get a call from Metallica again, and we're out there. Just fucking.
That would be crazy.
Yeah, it would be crazy. Absolutely.
Lars did say he wants to do it again.
I know.
He did say we're sitting on that couch. Remember that?
I know. It's great. It's great. So I'm looking forward to that. Thank you. And everybody follow this man. And I mean, he is just an artist. And this is a great day to talk to you. Thank you, man.
Thank you, bro. Take care. All right.
I'll see you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Later.